In late 2020, we started watching a court case involving Joel Greenberg. He's a buddy of Matt Gaetz. He's a former Florida tax collector. He was involved in a lot of fraud and child sex trafficking. Well, he was found guilty. He was going to spend a lot of time, I mean a fucking lot of time, in jail. But then Greenberg came up with the idea, well, I've got some evidence on some other guys like Matt Gaetz. If you take some time off of my sentence, I'll give you some evidence. So his sentencing was delayed at least 2 or 3 times because he kept giving more and more evidence. We were looking forward to the time that he would get sentenced because presumably after that, all the evidence he gave would indict some other folks like Matt Gaetz, who was clearly involved. Well, we've been waiting and waiting and waiting, and this has taken forever, and I'm not sure why it did. Maybe Matt Gaetz and his connection in Florida had something to do with it. But today, Joel Greenberg was finally sentenced. Now remember, I said he could get years and decades in jail. Well, he got 11 years in jail, which is kind of a disappointment, but that gets him out of the way for some time to come. But now the question is, after all those delays and all that evidence he supposedly gave, who's next? Now that he's been sentenced and he will be in jail, does that free things up to go after the people that he gave evidence on, that he turned state evidence on, like Matt Gaetz or other politicians in Florida? Well, I fucking hope so. Because if you gave him all this time off of his sentence because of the evidence he was giving, you would think it should bear some fruit. So I'm looking at this as a positive. Joel Greenberg finally gets sentenced. He's going to jail. Now what's next? Who's next? Is Matt Gaetz next? Well, Matt Gaetz should be next because his texts were exposed with Joel Greenberg. He was connected to Joel Greenberg. If Matt Gaetz isn't indicted, well, then there's some fucking problems. I like to think positively, so I'm assuming Matt Gaetz is going to get a knock on the door, an indictment slid under the door, or something very soon. But it is Florida, so who knows what the fuck is going on in Florida? We'll just have to sit and wait and see.